Blues here. Catch all of your St. Louis Blues hockey action right here on KSMO Radio.
At the KSMO Studios, 1340. Welcome to Tuesday, Intercounty Tuesday at that. Heather has floated her way over on the crest of the wind.
The snowflakes brought me over.
Well, either that or the wind. If you had the sails up, it could have blown you
Yeah.
over. You're going to have a hard time going back.
Yeah, pretty windy this morning.
Yeah, a little breezy out there. No doubt about it. But had all the rain yesterday and finally coming to an end. A few little snowflakes there, but it's gone.
Yeah.
It's all gone for a while.
It's not gone. It's still sitting in our yards.
Oh, no, it's gone. It's gone. Let that wind blow in that water for a little
Yeah.
while. It'll all just blow over this way from your house. It does. Eventually, it just gets up in the wind and blows around. But it's very humid out there, too.
It is.
96% relative humidity. A lot of that's because of the rain in your yard. It's all coming this way.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. You're already trying to give it to us.
I know.
Anyway, very
We've
good.
got plenty.
But we do have plenty of rain and stuff of that nature, which also makes it for sloppy trekking, which also makes this wind a little bit problem. We did have a little bit of ice the other day, and I noticed a few lines had some issues, but not too many, which is basically a big thank you to Intercounty for getting all those trees and things trimmed away from a lot of these lines. It was a big major program they did. I think it started like 15 years ago, and they've improved it since, but now they don't have to go through this massive a change to go keep trimming that area out.
Right. The right-of-way is really important, and trees are important too, and we don't want to have to cut anything that we don't have to, but boy, when that ice comes in and you just kind of cross your fingers and hope that it doesn't settle in on the lines and the trees, and ice is really, it's like a 4-letter word for our linemen, for our co-op.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's like pretty.
Well, it might be pretty, but not when you know it's causing
Not for
outages
linemen, it's not pretty.
and you have to go out there and work in it. But
No.
that times like that we just had really do showcase the importance of our aggressive right-of-way program. And it's nice when even when there's ice that comes through, the trees that get it don't droop down into the lines or pop back up into the lines.
Now, we're not talking about that little bit of glazing we might get every now and then. That doesn't usually cause too many problems except driving.
Right.
But what does cause the problems was the other day they were talking about the possibility of getting up to a 1/4 inch of ice to 1/2 inch of ice. If you get a 1/2 inch ice out there, you don't have some major problems.
You've got around extra 500 pounds per span of line when you're talking that kind of ice. That's a lot of weight on the co-op's infrastructure that's not meant to handle.
Plus, if you have a compromised pole of something of that nature, maybe it got hit before, or maybe it's just old, and all of a sudden, snap, it can happen.
Yeah.
And then the worst thing with ice is wind.
Yeah.
You get those two combinations, and you
It's
really
really
got a
bad.
problem.
Yeah.
But we have been very fortunate that hasn't been too much. We did get a little bit of ice the other day. It did kind of melt off fairly quick. But, we still want to remind people that keep an eye on that. If you get some blinking or stuff of that nature when you do have some ice on your lines, that even after it goes away, you may just want to contact Intercounty and say, hey, that last ice storm we had, I had some blinking. You might want to check that out and just let them know.
Yeah. And remember, too, that whether it be ice or storms or whatever it might be, excuse me, if the line does come down in your yard, in your driveway, across the vehicle, remember that those power lines do not have to be arcing, sparking, flopping around on the ground to be energized. TV, we've talked about this before. TV's really dramatized what we think a live power line should look like.
Looks like a sparkler.
Or we think it should,
Well.
but it could just be lying there not doing anything and could still be energized. So
It's doing something lying there.
yeah, well, that's true. It's energizing
Spreading
the whole
a lot of
area around it.
spreading a lot of power in a numerous big area.
But just stay away. Call Intercounty. If you're
Stay in your car.
stay in your car.
It's over
If
your
you're in
car.
a vehicle accident, the only time you should ever leave is if the car catches on fire, and then you want to jump away from the vehicle, not holding onto the vehicle and the ground at the same time. You don't want to become that path to ground. So.
And we need to kind of remind people too, Heather, that based upon basically what you're talking about there, a lot of people go out to work in the morning. Their vehicle sits out all night. There's a storm, something of that nature, and it's all wet out there. And a lot of things you don't think about is the first thing you want to do is just try and run to your car.
Right.
Well, if there's power lines or something near your car and you can't tell one's down, you might find yourself in a situation you really don't want to be in. So be very cautious. If you take that first step and the power line's a good 100 feet away, you may feel a little something.
Yeah.
If it's down 100 feet away, you may think not. You
With
will.
as wet as it is.
The closer you get,
Yeah.
the more you're going to feel because it's spreading out over a large area. But still, you get too close to it, and you're going to feel the unfortunate pain of what electric can do. Those amps can really get to you. Then you grab onto your car, and then you're just making it even a little bit worse. So.
Yeah.
Again, I know you can't look up in the sky if it's pouring down rain. You're thinking, oh, well, what are you talking about? How am I going to ever know that? You won't know it, but you might feel it. So when you get that out in your vehicle, please be careful. Those situations, if you feel something really weird, a little tingling in your toes, start backing up the other way because you just don't know. And it could have just come down from wind. Like we've got a lot of wind right now. You can't see that at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning when a lot of these people will go off to work.
Right.
So that's a real dangerous situation. So just be a little bit cautious, especially after there's been a storm, especially that.
Right. Right. We had that ice. We've had wind. So be cautious. Take that extra few seconds to kind of look around. And if it's dark, understand you can't. But just like you said, just be aware of your surroundings. And if something doesn't feel right, take notice to that and back up. Like you said,
Yeah. It doesn't get you all at one time unless it's right there. But
Right.
if you've got a little time, you'll feel it. So just start to see your hair stand on end like you've seen in the movies too, right?
Yeah.
And smoke come out of the ears.
Smoke. I was going to
you don't want to be in that position where
No.
it would come out of your ears.
No.
One of the things that we talk about with the ice storms and things of that nature, and we just want to remind everybody, and as wet as it is right now, that if there are issues to where Intercounty has to come out to your poles, now you know how soft it is right now. Try and get a truck back there, Heather. This is a time that a lot of people say, well, you're going to destroy my yard, things of that nature. Well, if they have to get back there, they'll do it. But if they can walk back there, they'll walk back there.
Right.
But if they have to bring a truck back there, then they'll come back and they'll fix that up. It's just, there's no other way of doing it.
Right. They're not going to be doing a whole lot of construction work right now. It can't happen. But if there were widespread outages, ice storm, when you talk about that, there are times that they would have to just get in there. But they'll come back and fix it.
Right.
You can give us a call and let us know, hey, I had to have a pole replaced because it broke during the ice storm and just wanted to make a note that there's some damage to the yard. Can you put me on a list to have it fixed?
Sure.
We've probably already got it on a list, but if it helps you feel a little bit better, then call and let us know, and we'll make sure that the notes from the field got transferred to the office.
Sure.
And weather gets
Permitting.
a little bit nicer. We'll get out there.
And let's clarify that too. They're not going to come out the next day.
Right, they're going to cause more problems.
They're going to come out when the weather gets nicer, dries out a little bit, so they can actually move the ground back and get it back to where it
Right.
needs to be. So, don't expect them to be out the next day. They came out, okay, yeah, it's a mess, and it doesn't look very attractive. It's not going to do them any good to come out the next day and bring in other tires and bring in guys, and then you're going to have tires all over your yard. So
Right.
then you're really not going to be happy. So, they will wait until the weather is much better, a little bit warmer, more conducive to getting that land where it can set up and look nice. And so, yeah, give them a little time to get that done. Very good. Well, I'm going to get off of that right now because I think we need to talk a little bit about an essay test. I
Yeah.
should say just an essay, not really
essay.
a test. Testing comes later.
Yeah. Or a blog entry, as the kids are saying
blog
now.
entry.
They told me a couple years ago that 250 to 500 words is not an essay, it's a blog entry. I'm like,
But
okay.
But if
if
you're not
you'll
entering it on a blog, how
if-
can it be a blog entry?
Well, I guess according to the length, when I said essay, they were thinking some big, huge, long, oh, I don't want to write an essay. And then when I said 250 to 500 words, oh, well, that's a blog entry.
These kids even
I'm like,
do stuff.
okay.
Do the kids even do blogs anymore?
I don't know. couple years ago, apparently they did. Or it wasn't last year, it was 2 years ago when I was told
Wow.
that. And I thought, well, okay. It seemed to encourage them to write the essay.
Well, good. They
Yeah.
have 250 to 500 word blog entry,
Yeah,
but you got to put it on paper.
right.
So don't try and
Print
enter
it
it on
out.
the blog because there's no blog to enter it on. So put it on a piece of paper.
Yeah. But tomorrow we visit the last school. Mountain Grove we've had a hard time scheduling with them.
Well, they've had a flu problem down there.
Yeah.
Big time.
Yeah, and original day we were scheduled, they were out for weather, and we rescheduled, and then they were out for the flu. So kind of abnormal to be this late in the year and still not have visited a school. But the rest of the schools have all been visited. We've talked to all the juniors, and hopefully they are all well on their way to finishing that essay and getting that turned in. Miss Jadwin here in Salem is the contact person, and she'll be collecting those essays. And what happens is each school, excuse me, we have 9 high schools in our service territory. So each school has their own contest. They're not having to compete against juniors at the other high schools.
Not yet.
Not yet. And each school narrows their essay writers down to the top 3 students. And those 3 students, at that point, really are guaranteed a trip because we give away 1 trip to D.C. and 2 to Jeff City to each school.
No
So,
losers there.
yeah, so they can kind of rest a little easy, if you will. But at that point, we send them a question and answer booklet about electric co-ops. And they have some time to study, prepare for that. And then we invite them the last Saturday in March to Intercounty. And we interview them based on some of those questions and answers in that booklet that we gave them. And how well they do in the interview then determines if they're going to DC or if they're going to Jeff City.
There you go. Very good. But they have to submit the essay first. And you have to submit it on time. Now, I do know, as I checked the announcements yesterday for the Salem High School, that it is on the announcements. It's been
Good.
announced every day for the last couple of days. So I know that that's been on there. And I believe the date that the juniors here in Salem must have it in by the 22nd. I
sounds
believe
right.
that's the day they have to have it in. So if you know your youngin is out there and they're a junior and they haven't got it done yet, they got 10 days
Yeah.
to get it
And
done.
and it's not a difficult. There's been years that the topic has been a little in depth and required a lot of research. The last several years, it's been more of a opinion based essay. This year kind of follows along those lines as well. We're asking them to write about how they think their co-op, how they think we should be involved in the deployment of electric vehicles. Should we put in charging stations? Should we charge members to use those charging stations?
Free.
Should we add electric vehicles to our fleet? I mean, we've had members call and ask us, hey, what are you guys doing? What are you planning on doing? And these high school juniors are our future members. So we want to hear how they think we should be involved, what we should be doing. So it should be interesting. See what they think.
You know, sometimes you get some really good ideas from people you just don't ever expect them from.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And then that's how certain things start to change. You know, people come up with an idea, and sometimes they don't know how to implement it, and they talk to somebody else, and then they talk to somebody else, and all of a sudden you find somebody who says, you know, that's a pretty good idea. I think
We can make it work.
I think we might be able to make that work. And then of course you go through trial and error because
Right.
usually, very rarely does it ever turn around that you can do that thing perfectly the first time.
Right.
And if you do it perfectly the first time, then it's probably too easy and something's wrong. Something's going to go wrong
If
with
it's
it.
too
But
good to be
but
true.
again, you're exactly right though. To find out the new ideas, because I'm not going to say people get set in their ways, but usually about after 40, 45 years of age, you're still open to new ideas, but you're a little bit more hesitant in going to them because you're familiar with what you've already done.
Right.
Why would you want to change? That's why do we want change? Well, sometimes you want change, sometimes you're forced upon change, but when you get younger ideas coming in and say, well, has anybody looked at this, or has anybody thought about this?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's a very open-ended question because has anybody thought about it? I'm sure somebody
Yeah.
has, but did they act upon that? Now they're getting a chance to actually act upon it and let that voice be heard. with their opinion on this idea about what Intercounty's role should be in this.
Yeah.
Because it really is kind of important.
Yeah. I'm really anxious to read.
Do you get
what
to
the
read all these personally?
The top 3 I do. We don't judge the essays. The
So
school takes
you don't
care.
get them all. You just get the top
We
3.
just get the top 3, and at that point, their essays are no longer part of the determination of which trip they'll win. That's all based on their interview. But when those essays come back into the office, they have the students' contact information on them, and that's what we really need, is that information so that we can get the students their question and answer packets. But we do read through those and see what the students have to say, and what they're thinking, and
Do you
how.
pull a couple out on the side if they really strike you?
Well, you remember the names, and then when they come in for the interview, you kind of think, well, I wonder which one is so-and-so. And there's been times we've had an opportunity to talk to them. One year we had a young lady who was very involved in FFA, and she wrote an amazing essay. I mean, it really did just stand out above the rest very clearly. And it was nice to have an opportunity to talk to her about what she wrote about. And she was very willing and excited to see that somebody actually read
Right.
it. And yeah, so they're not part of that final judging on the interview day. But we do read those and kind of see
That's
what
good.
the kids
well,
are
I mean,
thinking.
it's good feedback for the student.
Yeah.
To get an idea of what so they qualify, and they wrote the essay, they qualify, but they don't really know, did it really make a difference?
Right.
Here's my opinion. And then when somebody comes up to you and says, hey, you really had some good points, and
Yeah.
wow,
Whoa.
hey, I did
Yeah.
something good. So
yeah. And especially this year, since we're asking them to write about how they think we should be involved, we're definitely going to take a look at those that come in and see what they're thinking, where their thoughts are, where they think we should,
very good.
where they think we should be.
Okay,
Get
so
that spit out right.
again, this is juniors only. This
That's
is
right.
the only class that's allowed to participate in this. And so, and a couple of other things we want to remind people of. You mentioned it before. You're a winner if you're in the top 3. You're a winner. You're a winner just writing this because it'll help your writing skills anyway.
That's right.
And it gives you the chance to actually express yourself. Even if you don't win, you get a chance to actually put your feelings into words. That's not always easy to do. But if you do go to college, you're going to end up doing that more, and more, and more, and more. But one of the neat things about this is that 2 trips to Jeff City. These are really cool trips. Of course, D.C., really cool trip.
Yeah.
But there's just no losers in this. So even though you place and you go up and you're going to face a little bit of competition because they're going to ask you questions. But the thing is just you've already got it made in one of these trips. Now, if you want to excel and go to that D.C. trip, you got to do a little bit of homework.
Right.
A little bit more homework maybe than you may have to do on the essay, but because that's just an opinion. But then do your best. Juniors, it's up to you, and that's all you can do. But
That's
you've
right.
got to submit it. It has to be into the Salem High School Counselor's Office by next Friday, the 22nd.
And both trips are free. I know we talked about that last month, but that's a huge opportunity because a lot of these students, they do have a chance to travel to different places, to DC, to Jeff City on school trips. But a lot of times they're fundraising for months and months beforehand. They're selling candy bars. They're working concession stands. Mom and dad are having to pitch in money. The co-op is taking care of this for these juniors, so they don't have to worry about
Exactly.
fundraising and after-school jobs and asking mom and dad for money to help pay for the flight or whatever it might be.
And what's Intercounty asking for?
An essay.
250 to
Yeah.
500 words.
Yeah.
That's pretty easy. Anyway, the youth essay, please get that in by next Friday, the 22nd. Again, if you have any questions, contact Mrs. Jadwin. She can give you the details. If your junior has not done it yet, kind of stir the fire underneath them a little bit. That's like, hey, what are you doing? You
Yeah.
could be going on this trip. All you got to do is put a little bit of effort out. We're not talking about, hours and hours and hours of studying just to write a 500-word essay. It's an opinion,
Right.
basically. So can't be much easier than getting an opinion and getting
Yeah.
it done. So let's concentrate on that, and hopefully it'll all work out very good. Again, juniors, please do participate in this. It's a great opportunity, and as you mentioned, all 9 schools will have representatives, provided that essays are turned in.
Right. As long as there are at least 3 students from each school that write the essay and show up for the interview.
You've
then
had schools that only had 1 or 2 before.
we've had a school that hasn't turned in any before.
What?
No essays.
Really?
Really.
Not any?
Not any.
No,
So,
we ain't gonna go there.
no.
We're not going there.
That's discouraging.
That is
But,
discouraging.
if your junior has been thinking about writing the essay, but kind of like, oh, there's this many kids in my class, there's no chance I'll make top 3, encourage them to write it anyway, because not as many people turn these in. It's not just a form they can fill out. They
Right.
have to write the essay. And even though it's short, 250 to 500 words, it does require some effort. And a lot of students will not write it for that reason. So encourage your junior to go ahead and write it and turn it in, even if they don't think they could make top 3, because it may not be all
There may only be
150
3.
kids.
There may only be 3.
Yeah.
And they go.
Yeah. Encourage them to write it.
Very good. Anyway, it's a great thing to get their brain working a little bit, on something that's not school oriented, because this is something that's personal, your opinion.
That's right.
It's not based upon 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 4 is 8,
Right.
and 8 and 8 is 26, or something like that. Get the idea, but they don't have to worry about. It's not their typical English class. They're not worried about that type of and trying to do worried about your diction and everything else, and you're putting it in the right tense. You want to definitely put a good essay together, but at the same time, it's your idea that they want to hear. They want your take on this, and for the reward you could get, I think it's not that much.
Not
to
a whole
put
lot of
forth.
effort.
It might take an hour.
Yeah. They can have
Maybe.
it done in an hour.
Yeah, maybe an hour. Probably want to write it out first, just to get the kinks out of it before you put it down and submit it.
It's always a good idea. Proofread it before you turn it in.
Now, probably if it was me, I'd probably wait till the 21st and do it. So I was a procrastinator all the
Hey,
time.
you know what? As long as you turn it in on the 21st.
Right. I
then-
mean, but that's me. I used to have my used to drive my mom crazy.
Wait
Because
till the last
I
minute.
would procrastinate. I would. I'd wait till the last minute, and then I'd cram, and then come back with an A, and she'd like, I don't get it. I said, well, I don't get it either, but whatever I'd write all my stuff out.
Yeah.
Used to do outlines. I mean, of course, if we're going back a few years, okay, when you didn't really have computers, and I wrote out outlines off all my notes. I'd write the outlines, and then I'd go I'd do it all the day before, and I'd go take a test, and I'd do the test, and I'd write out an outline form just like I did at home, and I'd submit it.
Yeah, and if you
And
would have
then-
done it a week or 2 weeks before,
I
you would
wouldn't
have
remember.
you would have forgot it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't remember. But I remember doing that in a lot of my Western civilization classes and American history classes. That's what I do, with stuff that, and I always use their examples that they used in class.
Oh,
Then they know you're listening.
look at you, trying to get those brownie points.
Hey,
Huh?
it works. Brownie points.
Trying to get an A.
I'm gonna tell you, brownie points are what makes giving you an A, especially when you got to write a blue book essay for the 4 questions. It's all you get for a test. You better
You
know what
better
you're talking about.
write.
And you better
Plenty
use their
of-
examples because they want to know you're there.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anyway, but this time, it's just your opinion. You don't have to worry about a professor talking or anything else. It's just, what do you think about electric cars? Should Intercounty be a part of that? Should they, like you're saying, should they incorporate that in their fleet?
Right. We've had members ask us.
Yeah.
And about the charging stations. Are you going to put them in? Are they going to be free to everybody? Are they going to be free to members, but you're going to charge non-members to use them? Are you going to charge everybody to use them? Will members get a discounted rate? I mean, there's a lot of things to
How
look
long
at.
are you able to use a charging station?
Right. Where are you going to put them at? We serve parts of 10 counties. So where would they be? Would they be at the offices?
And
would they be...
Heather, it's a great idea because right now you can, you're right. Where would they be? Mm-hmm. Because we live in a rural area. You're not going to run out of electric in town. You're going to run out of electric out of town.
Yeah.
So where are you going to put these?
Yeah.
That you can ensure that everybody would have cover? That's a good question. I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah, we'll see what the kids have to
Can
say.
I write? Can I do it? I'm a junior.
You can write one, but I don't know that
Oh, they won't give me a.
you're going to be eligible for
That would be
the
interesting.
trip. You can write it.
Well, I know, but I mean that would be interesting.
You
I
normally
mean,
share
well,
lots of
look,
ideas with us.
I know.
I'm
but
waiting for-
But this one is really hard. How would you? You would actually have to build a pad for an electric station. You'd have to have obviously electric lines very close to the road, and then have that pad. And then you're trying to think how close would you have to put them together to make sure everybody would be covered.
Yeah.
You know, for example, let's just say there's an accident on the highway. Okay.
And how many do you put in?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, you have an accident on the highway, and we got, well, let's just say we have 50% electric cars at that time. So you're sitting there for 3 hours, and you know you're watching your battery, and you can't move. You can't
You're
go
stuck.
anywhere. You're stuck. So all of a sudden, there's going to be a demand for that little electric, charger right there with a whole bunch of cars
Yeah.
trying to get to it at one time because everybody's been sitting there winding their battery down.
Yeah. So do they get 15 minutes at the charging station at a time?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So, and how close would you have to keep them, every 5 miles, every 3 miles, every 4 miles? And then county roads, out in the country, every 3 or 4 miles, that might be impractical. That would be very
yeah.
expensive.
Very expensive.
So, I'm just thinking in my...
Your gears are turning?
Well, it is because I'm thinking, man, oh man, how would you do that to where you can ensure if somebody doesn't know the area, okay, especially like somebody on vacation, they got an electric car, they've never been in a rural area before, okay, and they head down 19.
They don't realize they shouldn't be driving the electric car in the rural area.
Well, they shouldn't do it without full
to meander
charge,
around.
without fully charged.
Yeah.
Right? Well, let's just say they come through Salem and they're going to head down to, let's just say, Eminence.
Echo Bluff.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, but Echo Bluff's the first place you can really go besides, little like Timber and Gladden
Yeah.
and stuff. But do you put a charging station in Timber and Gladden? Now, way, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think ahead. Or how about 19 between Cherryville and Salem? Where are you going to put one? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think in those locations where you're in the middle of nowhere, and if you don't know these roads and you're running out of juice, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
There's no gas stations there either, so
Right. Right.
it's not like you can do that. But I'm not familiar enough with how long an
Yeah.
electric car can last. So anyway, but these are all things that right now, since we're just talking about this, are kind of going through my head. Okay,
Yeah. Or
good-
do you put them where gas stations are so that someone driving the electric vehicle would recognize this is a station
Which is where
that
I
has an electric charging
Right.
station.
I have seen those in Columbia at many gas stations.
Mm-hmm.
They have the E95 and they have the electric charging stations. Usually there's 2 or 3
Yeah.
at some of those really big,
Yeah.
convenience stores. So that's where I have seen some. And I think I saw one when we were in, I think we were in Las Vegas, and it was out kind of toward Hoover Dam, and there was just a charging station
Just out by itself.
just out by itself. I drove by and I thought, well, isn't that neat?
Makes you wonder if they get more use than one located at, say, a convenience store.
Well, I was
gas
thinking
station.
because going to Hoover Dam sometimes there's a long line of traffic, and they just sit there. And so
Maybe necessary.
it might be needed out there, especially in the heat when you've got air conditioning going
Yeah.
in the summer. May not last. Anyway,
Lots to think about.
Boy, it'd be a great essay.
You're halfway done.
Well, I'm not halfway done, but I really have opened up a new whole can of worms for me.
Yeah.
Just thinking about that. So anyway, hopefully these juniors are a lot smarter than I am, and they can address the situation, have the perfect solution to give to Intercounty so they have no more worries in the
Yeah.
future, can take care of all this for minimal cost.
Sounds good. We'll see.
Yeah.
We are interested to see what the kids have to say,
that's
though.
that could be a great topic, just for a round table discussion. I like it. Okay. Enough on a junior essay test? Our junior essay?
Junior essay, yep. Make sure
Okay.
your junior's writing it. Get it turned in to their counselor or their English teacher. And hopefully they make top 3, and we'll start sending them some information if they do.
Good luck, juniors.
Absolutely.
Get it in, but it's up to you to get it in on time by next Friday. Okay. Very good. All right. Intercounty has been, well, they kind of remind you about scams. This is the kind of time of year that sometimes people will come and, they'll come up with something, won't they?
Well, and you almost can't even say this is the time of year anymore because it
No.
seems like they do that all the time now.
I know, but a lot of times they'll come by. Well, we're going to remove this from around your lines, and you need to do this, and we need your account number, and we need this information.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah. The main scams that our members report are receiving phone calls
For bills
that are demanding immediate payment.
right now.
The caller identifies themselves as a representative of Intercounty, which they are not, and they demand immediate payment. Sometimes they demand it with a prepaid card. We had, it's been probably a year ago or so in the Mountain Grove area, wasn't really down here in Salem area, but over in Mountain Grove there were several members that received calls we suspect from the same person. I mean, they just described the caller's voice very similarly, and the conversation was the same, but they were actually demanding our members to go to their local convenience store, buy a preloaded Green Dot card or a preloaded Visa card. We will call you back in 30 minutes. If you do not have payment then, the lineman is on standby and he will be there to turn your power off. That was not us. I promise you that was not us. But fortunately, as far as we know, all of our members that received that call knew well enough
Didn't
that
act
it
on
wasn't
it.
us, and they did not act on it. But that's a huge red flag. We're not going to demand a specific payment type, and we're not going to give you an allotted time before we call you back. We would give you a number that you could call us back if you had any questions. And we're not going to take payments over the phone anymore anyway. That's all done through our secure automated line. So lots of red flags there. Trust your gut. If it feels like a scam, if it feels wrong,
It probably is.
it probably is. And that's not just for Intercounty. If you get a call from somebody claiming to be with your bank or your propane company or whatever, if they're demanding immediate payment over the phone and threatening repo or disconnection or whatever it might be, keep your guard up, because I can't say that no businesses would do that, but none that I know
Right.
would call and make threatening demands like that over the phone.
Right. And sometimes, people, and I don't think it's too much here with Intercounty, but I know in some of the cities that I can remember that they would say utility guys would be coming to their house.
The door-to-door.
Door-to-door stuff, and requiring information about your account and different things of that nature. So also there to shut off your account,
Right.
if you don't pay right now to
Right.
me in person
Yeah.
right now.
And our servicemen, our linemen, they do not take payments in the field. So if you do ever have someone come to your door asking for money, claiming to be with Intercounty, don't let them in. You can call the office if you want, but you could call the cops, call your local police department, let them know there's somebody there claiming to be with Intercounty or
Right.
claiming to be with your gas company or claiming to be with whoever they're claiming to be with. You gotta protect yourself, and you don't want to just be letting strangers in your home, and you certainly don't want to just be handing over cash to people that are
Right.
standing at your door saying you owe it.
Right. And you wouldn't have an Intercounty representative come to your home unless you called and asked them to come.
Right.
And if they do show up and you're still not sure, then just call Intercounty and say, did you send such and such?
Yeah.
Don't call a number they may give you.
Yeah.
You know,
They're not going to give
Here,
you the
call
right
this
number.
number. Well, wow, that's not the same number I usually call. Yeah, but that's a business number. This is my supervisor's number. Yeah, something's wrong with that. Okay.
Yeah.
So definitely want to make sure that I'm just reminding people. Sometimes people just want to get in your house. Don't want to, just be very cautious of that. We just not trying to scare anybody, but sometimes people look for a way in. If they can see something, if they can kind of case your house, and then they can leave. If you let them in, they can take a real quick look around, see something they like.
Right.
So, keep them outside the door. They don't need to be coming inside your home, even if it's pouring down rain. It's not your problem.
Right.
So, anyway, but watch out for the scams. Scams are out there all the time. One way you can get away from, not worrying about too much and monitoring your accounts and everything else is Smarthub. And we try to remind people to get signed up for Smarthub. It's easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the real fine ways to monitor your accounts. You can pay your bills. You can check your account status right there.
Right.
And
So
then you can say, if I haven't paid, then how come it says mark paid?
right. And you've got that information right there. Really quickly.
Yeah.
And if you're monitoring that every few days, chances are you're not going to forget a payment anyway. If you're keeping an eye on your usage, you're going to be aware of your due date. And if you know your due date's approaching and you're going to have a difficult time paying the whole bill, you can call in and we can work with you on a payment agreement. But I guess the point is, if you're using Smarthub, you're going to know if your bill's been paid or not,
Right.
if you've forgotten it or not. So when you get that call, someone saying, you didn't pay your bill, we're going to turn it off right now. I got a lineman coming down your drive.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't give me payment over the phone right now, you're going to know.
Or those phony emails.
Yeah.
You
Don't
can
click
get
on
those.
any of that stuff.
Don't open them up. That's not a good thing.
No.
One thing I want to talk a little bit about is service availability charge. There's going to be a little change, right?
There is going to be a change.
Okay.
It goes into effect in our April billing. So your May 1st bill or May 8th bill is going to show an increase to your service availability charge. That's going up by $0.10 a day.
You're killing me.
I know. That's like $3 a month.
You're
It's not a
killing me.
lot, but it is an increase, and we certainly don't want to try to disguise that or hide it from our members. And hopefully we can manage the $3. And our members have been doing really well with conserving and energy efficiency. Our members, and Smarthub goes back to Smarthub. Smarthub has really helped with this. Our members are way more energy efficient than they were years ago.
Oh, yes.
So
What are the numbers? It's in the Missouri Rural Magazine. You
Yes.
can see those numbers. It's on page 3. It's always down there in the lower right corner.
yeah, and so that's a big deal and speaks a lot about our members. But there is going to be that increase to service availability, and the reason they did that, why we're doing this, kind of goes back to last year about this time.
Okay.
Our board had made a decision to do a small increase to service availability at that time, and they had shared that they'd spent countless hours researching rates. They'd met with industry experts, kind of talking about rate structures. And weather, as you might suspect, weather fluctuations play a really big role in the revenue that comes in for a utility.
Right.
If it's really, really cold or really, really hot, we bring in more revenue. If it's mild winter and mild summer, there's not a whole lot of revenue. We want to make sure that the co-op is financially stable regardless of the weather. So we're adjusting the rate structure in a way that service availability covers those fixed costs. We talked about right-of-way. Your right-of-way costs to make sure your lines are clear to your home are the same whether you use 10 kilowatt hours a month or 10,000.
Yeah.
That cost is the same. The cost to deliver power to your home or to your business, whatever it might be, it doesn't change because of the weather.
Cost of installing a new line, anything of that, or repairing a line. It's all there.
Right. If
You
we've
know.
got to put a transformer there, that transformer has the same cost.
Still got to buy a transformer.
It's
got to be
still
there.
got to buy it.
It's got to be there waiting, because if it's not there waiting, you may have to wait, a week, 2 weeks to get those transformers in. That would
Yeah.
not be good.
Would not be good.
So you have to have an inventory. Who pays for the inventory? Service availability charge.
Service availability. So you'll notice that our service availability increase last year and the service availability increase this year, we're trying to get our rates to a point where the energy charge, what we pay, what the co-op pays for electricity, we buy that from our power provider.
That's a market demand, right?
Right. We
Okay.
can pass that that's going to be a pass through. We don't want to raise the KWH charge and charge you more for the electric that you used. We would like for that to not have, I say markup, that's not really the right word, but we want that charge to just be a pass-through. And we want the service availability to do what it was designed to do, take care of those fixed costs. And right now our rate structure's not that way. And so last year's service availability increase, this year's service availability increase, it's getting us to a point where even if the weather's really bad or if the weather's really good, your co-op is still going to be financially stable. It's not going to have a devastating impact
Not
on
be
your co-op.
dependent on surges.
Right.
One way or another, up or down.
Right. And this year we had those 2 discounts that we gave back because last winter, last January, February, it was cold. It was cold for extended periods of time. And then we went straight into heating season or cooling season. There was no spring. We went from turning off the heat to turning on the air. And so our members, yeah, it felt like it, didn't it? But, our members paid a lot because they used more. So we gave that back to the members because as a co-op, we're not trying to make profits to send off to investors off some.
Well, yeah, and you're
far
the
away.
owners. I mean, this
Right.
is you are an owner. You are part of this co-op.
Right.
So the service availability charge is, you're paying money in to keep that energy there at your home. It's still a luxury. People, I guess they assume that it's not a luxury, but it is. You could live without electricity. I don't really recommend it.
Wouldn't be pleasant.
Well, no, you won't have that fan blowing on you when it gets hot, and you won't have that air conditioner when it's really hot, and you won't have that hot water that you want to have because you don't have a hot water heater because you don't have electricity. But I mean, all the conveniences that we take, especially the older people who may remember when there wasn't even electricity in the rural areas. It hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
It wasn't here. And if it was only in the cities, not out in the distant county areas that the co-op serves, is that you're on your own.
Yeah.
It was not the most pleasant thing in the world to live. I mean, people lived that way because they knew how to live that way. But nowadays, not too many people know how to live without electricity. And also without those comforts of electricity has offered us. And so to say we got a little bit spoiled, we kind of have, but if you want that service availability to you, I mean, how many people now have 15 different cell phones and tablets and devices they carry with them? They can't be without them.
Charger for all of them.
A charger for every one, but you got the big screen TV, you got the smart refrigerator that tells you what you need, and I mean, I appreciate the stuff that's come up and gotten better and better and better. But I'm thinking that some of the younger people don't understand that wasn't what life was all about.
It's not always been that way.
Some of these great new technological advances wouldn't be possible without electricity and that service that you get. So remember, it took a lot of long, hard hours to get that service to and from a lot of people, and especially in rural areas. Intercounty, Black River, all those different co-ops coming together, having to make these decisions, how to service it. That's why when you want to build that house on the back 40, 500 miles from the nearest telephone pole and the nearest, possibility of getting electricity, go ahead. But you better be putting a little, somehow better find a way to run a generator if you want electricity out there, or you're going to be paying a lot for Intercounty to run that line out there. I mean, there's just no other way. That they're going to have to set poles, they're going to have to run lines, and that's service availability. That's what it's all about. But every pole you have, poles cost money, wires cost money, lines cost money, grounds cost money, and when your pole needs to be replaced, they don't come out and send you a bill. Now, unless you went out there with a chainsaw and maybe cut it down. That would not be a good thing, so
no,
please don't do that. But, I'm getting the idea is those have to be inventory items, and I'm going back to my old accounting days, I guess. But the inventory has a cost to it. You've got to buy all this ahead of time so it's there. Makes it available to the service people to get out there, get you back up and running in no time. Can you imagine these guys trying to go out there without the trucks to get them up and climb the poles, every single pole, to try and put the lines back together and try and get everything done in a storm?
Yeah.
I mean, the trucks cost money. the repairs of those trucks cost money, everything, and the equipment. They got to have the right equipment to be safe. There's just a lot of things that go into this, and that's all built into one little cost called
Service availability.
You're good. You ought to be part of that junior essay test. You'd be good at that.
Write my essay, huh? Maybe I
Anyway,
can go to DC.
So this cost that people say, well, why? What is the service availability? That is part of it's a huge amount of assets. Basically, is what the company has, and that's what they need to keep up to make sure that you have electricity.
It's all those fixed costs outside of that cost, the kilowatt hour cost. Outside of that,
because to make a profit, it would come back to you anyway. Sooner or later, it does anyhow. It's called capital credits.
Right. You'll get it.
You'll get it. You may have to wait a few years, but you'll get it. Or in this case, the last time we actually got a refund pretty quick. So anyway, but that goes into effect in the May billing.
Yes.
So very good. So in your May billing, you should see
a $3 about on a 30-day month. It'd be
an additional 10 cents per day.
Yeah.
So February would be a discount.
Except it's not. It won't be in effect in February.
Well, next
this
February.
Month.
You'll get penalized next February. It'll be not as big a discount. It'll be 29 days. So.
Okay.
Still not bad.
No.
All right. Very good. There was another thing I wanted to talk about since we were talking about polls and all that stuff, service availability, is this is the time we understand, and yard sales are going to start happening again. We've seen political signs up for the municipal elections. And guys, do not tack signs on these poles. I just saw one the other day, and I'm thinking I got squeamish. And we've said this so many times, you'd think not. It had a spike holding the sign up, a huge spike. And I thought, where did you, it looked like a railroad spike. Where did you get the spike, number one? And why would you drive that into a pole to hold up a sign?
Yeah.
Like, you don't find a nail, but nail's not good either.
No.
Spike's not good. Attack is not good. Anything that can rip these guys, pants, arms, shirts, everything, it's all there for their protection, or gloves. Why would you do that? Don't do it.
Right.
Don't put those things in there. These guys have to get up on those poles. Now, grant you, sometimes they don't climb the poles when they can use a truck. They don't have to, but sometimes they still have to.
Right. And not just, that's huge, the safety of our linemen, and we want to make sure that their gear is safe for them to use, that there's not any rips or tears or holes in those.
Don't want to be compromised.
But it goes back, we just talked about service availability and the cost of those poles. The more people that put spikes and nails and staples and who knows what in those poles, that degrades the quality of the pole. That pole's going to have to be replaced sooner because of those holes, because the water gets in, the bugs get in. It's not going to last as long as it was intended to last, and that's a cost that the co-op's going to incur.
But Heather, it's convenient. It's right there in my yard. It's right where I'm going to have my yard sale.
I'm sure it is. Get you a little sign that you can set up outside in the yard. Hinge you a couple boards together and paint yard sale on it.
Talking about work.
Well, they had to print the sign out. Maybe they could.
No, you're absolutely right. You don't
write it on the side of a cardboard box. Put a rock in the box and put it by the road.
And you know what? You can actually put that sign up and lean it against the pole. When you're done, take it down.
Yeah.
It's not in the...
You don't even have to hinge the board.
No, you don't. So think about that. You know? But don't nail, staple, tack, drive spikes into, or anything else into those poles, especially the spike. That one, that's about what, 3/8 of an inch by 3/8 of an inch. Driving in that hole, when they pull that spike out, that's a big hole.
That is a big hole.
So that's going to definitely...
And that's our members' property. It's not just Intercounty's property. Intercounty's owned by our members. So that's your property. Would you want somebody nailing that into...
your mailbox post?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I want a yard sale.
Nail it in there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
just not safe.
Keep your yard sale signs, political signs, birdhouses, basketball hoops. Keep all that off your power poles.
Yeah.
Not a good place for it.
Yeah, we don't want any damage done to that. All right. What else?
I'm trying to think. You've hit... You read the Rural Missouri this month.
I glanced at it. I haven't
Yeah.
had a chance to read it all. But there's, I did know about the service availability charge. I didn't
Yeah.
want to talk to you
And I
about that.
wanted to touch on scams, and we touched on scams. I guess we can just finish up with a little update on Roundup.
Okay.
We have exceeded 14,000 accounts
Wow.
on Roundup. So, big pat on the back to our members. That's huge. That's their program. Really, I mean, truly, there would not be a program without the members, because that's where the funding comes from.
Holy cow, that's good.
Members round up their bill to the next nearest dollar, and that's spare change, which you or I could not do a whole lot with in a month if we wanted to help someone. All goes into a pool together. And then our group of volunteer delegates, we have 7 delegates that sort of represent the different parts of Intercounty Service Territory. They meet once a month. Today, always the second Tuesday of the month, and they go over applications for assistance that they received the prior month. So anyone who applied for assistance by the last day of January will be considered for assistance today, and those 7 delegates will sit down and determine which of those applicants could use what kind of help, and then the money that those 14,000 accounts, the money that was
Generated.
contributed by those accounts, that's the money they have to work with, and they're able to help maybe make a rent payment or a mortgage payment, or maybe buy materials for a handicap ramp or fix a furnace. I mean, just an endless list of possibilities, and we've been able to help a lot of people that may have otherwise not gotten the
Hit
help.
rock bottom. Need
Right.
a little push.
And it's not a program that you sign up for and you receive monthly assistance. This is a one-time, I'm between a rock and a hard place. I was doing fine, but then this happened, this came up. I don't know how I'm going to make it this month
Exactly.
without a little bit of help.
Yeah.
And that's why 14,000 people are participating, is because they want to be able to help someone out that's in that tough
It's
spot.
helping their neighbor. It's that simple.
And it is really their neighbors, because this money does stay local. We're not sending it off to Kansas City or St. Louis or Springfield to
We have
help
people
out.
here that need it.
We have people here that need it, and that is one of the qualifications, if you will. One of the requirements is that the person receiving assistance has to be within Intercounty's outermost boundaries. So they will be within Intercounty service
Oh, good.
territory.
Very good. Okay, I did have a question though
What you got?
about Roundup. Okay, so Roundup has helped, I mean, a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
over the years. Has anybody who has gotten a Roundup check ever paid it back?
Yes.
Okay,
Not
it's not required.
it's not required, and it's not real common. We do see a lot of people who receive help through Roundup, maybe didn't know about the program before. They sign up to participate in the program either right away or after they get back up on their feet, and they'll say, hey, I didn't even know about the program until I had to use its funds. So I definitely want to help. But there have, I can remember one when I worked with the program, and it was a lady, I don't remember what we helped her with, but it was months and months later, and she sent a donation check to Intercounty and said, hey, I've got back on my feet. I appreciate the help when I was in a crunch. I don't know what I would have done without you guys. Use this to help somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's not, doesn't happen all the time, but I would say more often we get people sign up to participate in
Sure.
the program
Sure.
after they've needed help from the program. But you don't know when you need it, and you may have contributed all these years since the beginning and not needed it yet, but you don't know what next year will bring.
Well, you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring,
Yeah.
much less next year.
Yeah.
You know, you just never know, and things can happen in a hurry. You know, car can break down, fire in the kitchen, all of a sudden on the same day. I mean, you're really,
Right.
don't go gambling that day. That's
Yeah.
probably not going to be your day to win. You know, when you have, it seems like when it rains, it pours because it all seems to happen at one time, and then those bills all come in at one time.
Yeah.
You can't. There's just some people live paycheck to paycheck, which that happens. You get in a situation where you are living paycheck to paycheck, where your savings are minimal,
Right.
And you can't do a lot of savings, and maybe you've got children, and it's just you're not able to save as much as you'd like to. Well, okay, we understand.
Yeah.
All these things can be a factor, but if you don't have that money when they come calling, okay, yeah, you want the car back, well, you need to pay for the repairs.
Right.
You don't have the
Right.
money. So, it's a great program. I've loved it ever since it got started. I thought it was a great idea. Use spare change that people sometimes people throw it on the parking lot. I actually saw a guy throw 12 cents on the parking lot. He didn't want to put it in his pocket.
He just dropped
Threw
it
it.
in.
Yeah, just threw it out there. Like waiting for kids to go get it, like to be in the parking lot trying to get 12 cents. Like, that's not very safe. You want to give it to kids, just give it to the kid. But don't
just
throw it out
throw
in
it.
the parking lot. A dime and 2 pennies. But I watched him do it. And I thought, well, could have put that at a convenience store in a little there's somebody's always
Little
got
jars
something
everywhere.
there. Give it to them for spare change for so take a penny, leave a penny or whatever.
Right.
People got that stuff. Nope, just threw it out in the parking lot. Oh well, that could have gone to Roundup. 12
Yeah.
cents, 12 cents.
Right. Doesn't seem like a whole lot, but when you've got
12 cents times 14,000 people, that happens to be it's over $1,400.
it's a big deal.
Quick. I'd think twice about that 12 cents, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess what I need to say is that if you've found yourself in a situation where you could use a little bit of help, please don't be ashamed to contact us and ask, because that's what the program is for. It's exactly what it was intended to do. We want to be able to help. We can't if we don't know there's a need. So please reach out. We can mail you, email you, send you a link. I mean, there's any number of ways that we can get a Roundup application to you.
And they can just call.
You can call. Yep.
What's that number?
The number is 866-621-3679.
That's the first time we've said the number of the whole program.
It is.
Usually we do it twice every time.
And if you want to just print one out from our website, you can visit www.ieca.coop, C-O-O-P, and you can download and print out an application there. Pick one up in one of our offices. We will make sure you get an application.
Just
If
get
you
it
need
in
help.
by the end of the month, prior month.
Right. So if you pick one up this month, as long as you have it in by the last business day of February, it will be on the agenda for the second Tuesday in March.
There you go.
And that gives our delegates time to research these applicants. We want to make sure that the money's being spent wisely. Unfortunately, there are times when there are requests made that are not legitimate, and we have a great group of delegates that make sure that money is being spent wisely. They contribute to the program too. They want to be good stewards of that money, and
That's right.
and having that little bit of time in between the deadline and the meeting date gives them time to research that application, meet with the applicant, make sure everything checks out.
Great program.
Very great program.
Great program. 14,000. Well, congratulations
Yeah.
on that. And all that can do is help more people. That's what's so cool about that.
Yeah.
And if you're not part of Roundup, well, shame on you. I don't mean to shame anybody, but, it's easy to do. If you're not on Roundup, it's going to come on your bill. It's going to have a little box, and you can check the box. Mm-hmm. Real easy.
Yeah.
Isn't that
And
really?
you don't check it every month. It's just if
we
you don't.
Well, if you already have it, it won't be there.
Right. But if you're not participating, there is a little box on your payment stub that says something to the effect of check here to sign up for Operation Roundup.
Right.
You can do it that way. You can do it through Smarthub. You can
Mm-hmm.
sign up through there. You can call us, tell us in the office. All we have to do is check a box on our end.
Right.
And then your bill, when you get your bill, when that billing calculation is done, at the end it's rounded up to the next nearest dollar, and that spare change then is a line item on your bill that shows your Operation Roundup contribution. And at the end of the year, you get a total
Tax deductible.
that shows how much you contributed over the past year. And if you're able to itemize on your taxes, you can use that for tax deduction.
It usually falls around $6 and $7.
Yeah, I think mine was.
$6.82.
It was
is
just
mine.
it was just shy of $7.
$6.82.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
Mine was.
which is about average.
Yeah. But $6.82. If everybody
It's a lot
did
of money.
$6, 14,000 times 6, you're sitting there thinking, wow, $84,000.
Yeah.
You could do a lot with $84,000.
Yeah. A lot locally, which is a really
How many people could you help?
big deal for us.
Do you have an idea what the average request is?
The average request or the average request approved?
Well, I mean the average request approved. I mean
Yeah, we give anywhere from $700 to $1,000 generally. I mean, it may be less, it may be a little bit more. If we have a request for a rent payment and their rent's only $400 and that's all they're asking for and that's what they need,
that's what they get.
that's what we're able to help them with. But maybe we've got a situation where they're needing help with a little bit more. Maybe they need that wheelchair ramp and they need more than just the materials bought. Maybe they don't have any family or friends that can donate that labor, and so they need help paying for someone to come and do the construction as well.
Right.
Then we've got that flexibility to
Right. And of course,
help
our
with a little
American
bit more.
volunteers right here in Dan County will do that. So if you have a need for a wheelchair ramp and then you can get the funds for the materials, they'll build it.
Yeah.
So you've got other groups too that can work with your friends from Intercounty and Operation Roundup, make that you can go even farther to get that done.
Yeah.
To help more people.
Good deal.
But even at $1,000, that's 84 people a year. You start thinking about that. That's you start thinking about that 7 people a month that could really benefit. And if it's less, it just goes up more.
Right.
More people.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a wonderful way of helping people in dire need.
Right.
Really is.
And not really any effort on our part as a contributor to the program.
No, it is. It's a lot of work to go through those applications, and
No, I mean
I know, to collect the money.
as the member that's participating.
Right.
There's
Oh,
not
yeah.
effort on the member's part. You check the box one time, you sign up, and then
Right.
your bill's
Well,
an even
in
amount.
that case, yeah, absolutely very
Yeah.
little, except you give it $5, $6, $7 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Most you can give is 12. That's if you're on levelized billing, right?
If you're on levelized billing, then they
$1
round
a
it up to $1 a month because your bill's already an even amount.
There you go. So most you can give is 12. The least amount you can give is 0 by not being part of the program.
And most
That-
people fall around between
Middle
5
way,
and
yeah.
7.
Yeah.
Yep.
5 and 7 usually. Very good. Okay, I really don't have anything else.
Yeah.
Except you're going to be closed on President's Day, right?
Yes, good point. We'll be closed on Monday. Offices will be closed. We'll still have a dispatcher in the office. We always do.
You're open
24 hours a
today
day.
for Lincoln's birthday.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard that was like a state.
It's a state out. Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
I didn't either. Since when did
I
Missouri
heard it on the way
celebrate that?
over.
Yeah,
on your
since when did
programs.
Missouri start doing that?
I'm like, the courthouse and everything, I guess, is
Well,
closed.
I don't know about the courthouse.
They said it.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
Well, did they say the county? The county recognized it?
County didn't recognize it
Oh, I
here,
thought
but the
that's what-
state did.
Okay.
State of Missouri did. State offices, I know, are like the
Yeah.
license office is closed.
Yeah.
And, your child services are closed and stuff like that.
Huh.
But I don't
Well,
think
no,
I wasn't aware of our courthouse isn't closed. I was at the meeting yesterday. They didn't say a word about
Okay.
it. Next Monday they did.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't get that one.
We'll be closed next Monday. We're
I
here
mean, I know
today.
they closed on Truman's birthday. I can understand that one, but why Lincoln?
Well, no, that's not very nice.
No, but why Lincoln? I mean, they've
don't-
always done that in Illinois. They've always been closed on Lincoln's birthday in Illinois. That's where he's from.
Right.
Actually he's from Kentucky, but we're not going to, split hairs. But, I mean, that's where land of Lincoln is Illinois, okay? So they've always had his day off. And then I remember years ago, it used to be his day off, and then they also got off Washington's birthday, and it was just like a double whammy in February. They got 2 days off. Well, then that's why they consolidated to President's Day. Now, I don't know why the
Yeah.
state of Missouri is recognizing Lincoln's birthday. There's got to be something else.
I don't know. I think you're just sore that you're here at work today and Not
you know what?
closed.
I'll be at work next Monday, too. It doesn't make any difference. I don't get those days off.
yeah.
It's unfortunate. But nonetheless, so anyway,
Business office will be closed
Business
Monday
office
for
Monday.
President's Day, but
All
if you
three
have an
offices.
emergency, you can always reach our office.
sure.
Yeah.
yeah, very good. Wonderful. And let's see. I guess that's it.
I guess that's it.
Heather, always appreciate you coming over. Had to fight the wind and the snow and the rain to
Yeah.
get here.
We'll see what it's like when I
Well, it
leave.
won't be snow and rain and wind, I can tell you that much, but I don't see a lot of sunshine out there yet either. So you still got some cloudy skies, and it's kind of cool. Well, you got your jacket.
I got my coat. Yeah.
Anyway, 33 feels like 22 right now. Winds are out of the west-north. You're going to be right into the west wind at 19, 20 miles an hour driving back. Please be careful.
I will.
Watch out for the water coming trickling over the
Yeah.
road. It's still above freezing, though. That's the good news.
Good deal.
We'll get that other. We always appreciate our friends from Intercounty coming over. And, of course, we also want to remind you that Intercounty offers a number of services. We just touched on a few. They offer a number of different services. They do offer levelized billing. Remember, you can pay by credit card up to $11.59.58 of the day your bill is due. Just don't get it late. And that's a different phone number, so don't call the regular number to get that done. I mean, they'll transfer you over, but you should just call it directly. What is that credit card number, by the way?
That number is 888-678-1987.
You can also pay your bill on Smarthub. You can have it automatically withdrawn from your account. Levelized billing, we already kind of talked about. Number of different services. Also, don't forget they offer business services they have a lighting program still available. Tony talked about that back in December. And remember, they have loans. If you are building a major project and you need a little help, find out more about it.
We'll get you hooked up with Tony.
Call Tony, and you can just call the regular number and then just ask for Tony Floyd, and then he can give you all the details on it. A 0% loan in Intercounty territory, and if you're in the city, it'd be 1%. That's pretty doggone good deal. Now, you do have to have a business plan. You got to submit paperwork. It's not just like you say, hey, I need that money. It doesn't happen that way.
There's a process.
It's a USDA grant. It has to go through a lot of hoops and barrels. But still, if you're having a major project and it's something that could benefit the area, get in touch with Tony, and he can walk you through the process. It's very simple. Also, don't forget, and I should say this because we are at that time of year, don't forget about GeneraLink. If you have a generator and you don't have GeneraLink, that's just not a good idea.
We want to make sure you're using those generators safely, not just for you and your home, but for our linemen out working on those power outages. So if you have a generator, large or small, contact us, let us know. It may be that we can get you set up with a GeneraLink device. It may be that you need a double throw switch or transfer switch there at your home, but we'll make sure that you've got what you need so that our linemen are safe and that you are safe at home and all is good in the world.
This is the time of year that happens. A little bit more than normal, but we haven't had to use too many generators. Hopefully you haven't had to use them either. But we always want to remind people that it's a very dangerous thing for these guys to walk in if you put that generator and plug it into your wall socket to try and power your home. That reverse power is just not a good thing. Especially when these guys are up there and they have no idea that that's happening.
Right.
That's just not a good thing. When they energize that line, that's going to be a problem. So please keep that in mind. And also we want to remind everybody to please be careful out there. You're still in the winter season, and watch your bill. And remember, you can do that on Smarthub. And if you prepay electric, a lot of people are doing that now, and they're watching their usage a little bit more carefully. But watch those space heaters, and guys, we all know we got really cold, and it gets really warm. It's really cold, and it gets really warm. If you have that space heater, just don't turn it on and forget it. Oh, you won't forget it. That build time comes. Yeah. Because it's still going to be on. See, I got one out at the tower right now going because it got really cold. Right. Okay. It's still going. It's 33. Don't really need it at 33, but I'm going to leave it on because we're going to climb a little bit tomorrow. So if I go shut it off tomorrow, then we get cold again on the weekend, and I got to go turn it back on. So do I do that? How much is my time worth running out there? And then will I remember to turn it back on? That's the key. I'm not 24 anymore. I'm just a little older than that.
Make a note, Stan.
Yeah, I need to take a note and stick it on my forehead if I can see it in the mirror. Write it backwards so I can read it what that way it says. Anyway, but Heather, thank you. It's always a pleasure to have you over. Heather Satterfield from Intercounty Electric on our Intercounty Tuesday. We never get a chance to talk about things, so this is a good time to catch up. And juniors, don't forget that essay is due next Friday. Please get it in. Friday. Next Friday.